We are following some breaking news right now. Looking at a live picture here from the courtroom, actually outside the courthouse here. We see Kelsey Fitzsimmons approaching the microphones here. We expect to hear from her after being found not guilty by the judge here in the courtroom. Let's listen into the cheers. See your attorney right there. Let's listen in and see what he has to say about this.
Good afternoon, everybody. It was just another day at the office today. Just want to say that we want to thank so many people. You know, we want to thank Kelsey and her family for having faith in us. We, meaning Martha and I, want to thank so many people that Kelsey and her family had faith in us. And, you know, we had a very tough playing field for a long time. And we also want to thank Judge Karp, who did a great job and was a gentleman and treated us fairly and with justice. And that's all we ever asked for. And we finally got it, so we're relieved. And but other than thanking everybody, I just want to hand it over to Martha, and she's going to have some words for everybody first.
Yeah, so thanks, Tim. This is not only the right result, it's a righteous result today. It's been a long odyssey for those of you who followed this, and we started off in this case, you know, understanding, as we all do, and as the judge said, policing is a tough job. Being a mom is a tough job. And on June 30th, Kelsey had to do both. She's trying to be a mom. She's trying to get back to work. And then her world fell apart. And unfortunately on that day, as she said to the judge, and you heard in court, she had to deal with all that. And unfortunately, what happened in that bedroom started a chain of events with a narrative that they never diverged from. They never asked her about it. They rushed to judgment. And that case took on a life of its own, which unfortunately interfered with her life for an unnecessary and difficult time. I think Tim and I have known from the beginning that that wasn't fair, that the charges probably weren't fair, and that we were going to deal with the system, and we were going to take this to trial. And as Kelsey has said, without fail, she just wanted the truth to come out. She was able to do that when she testified in this case. And again, we're grateful for the judge's work. We're happy with this decision. And it's the right decision, as we said. She was always innocent until proven guilty. The Commonwealth did not meet their burden of proof, and she is innocent today.
Kelsey, what was it like to hear that word, not guilty, to hear the judge say not guilty this afternoon? You sat there, you know, you were on the stand yesterday telling your story. Share with us what that was like.
So, I got shot. I went to jail for 103 days. I haven't seen my son. I had to sell my home that I worked very hard for. So this is my first breath of fresh air, and I feel like I can breathe again. However, my fight is not over. I have a son that I need to reunite with, and that's where we are right now.
That was my next question. Kaden, what's next for you and how this verdict might help you reconnect with him?
I won't get into that, but I will say I am really excited to see my son again.
Do you have any plans to hire a personal injury attorney or have a personal injury attorney representing you?
I will also not get into that, but
Yeah, today we're celebrating this verdict.
yeah,
And that's
I'm
what we're focused on.
today.
One day at a time.
And I also would just like to thank everybody who stood outside each and every day, supported me, believed me before I got to tell my story, because it wasn't 9 months later until I got to tell the truth. And that was a long 9 months. And through those 9 months, you guys knew the truth. You guys believed in me, and thank you for that.
Kelsey, what's the message? Kelsey, what's the message to others that are in a position like yours after what happened today with the not guilty verdict? What would you tell other people?
Don't stop fighting for what's right, and when you know you didn't do something wrong, keep fighting for that.
Kelsey, do you want to be a police officer again?
I won't comment on that either. I don't know what my career goals are at the moment.
What have the last 9 months been like for you as a person, as a mother, as a defendant?
There's not a word. If you want an image of it, picture me on a mat in a jail cell crying for my son day after day after day after day. That's the only, there's not a word for that, but that is what happened to me.
Kelsey, do you feel like you're owed something now, considering that you've been found not guilty and all of this stuff has happened to you?
I'm going to leave that one to you.
Leave that one to the lawyers, Sarah.
Hey, Kelsey, the judge was not exactly speedy in getting to the ultimate decision. How painful was that to sit there and just wait for what was going to happen?
I mean, it's okay. He had to go through all the evidence, and there was a lot. So
We thought he was pretty quick, actually.
yeah.
And we obviously, with a good judge, didn't have the issue with the jury. He told us when he was going to decide. We knew he was going to write his decision, which was helpful, and he told that in public. So we had this hybrid trial with the judge, who was both the judge and the jury, and he was forthcoming throughout the trial, transparent, and told us he was going to tell us why the decision, which of course we would not have gotten with the jury verdict. So it's helpful to have that as well.
Kelsey, you talked about how this is a just verdict, in your opinion. Were you surprised these charges were brought in the first place, and why do you think they were?
So I'm just going to repeat what I said earlier to that question. A set of things got set into motion on June 30th that then followed a narrative starting that night in that room that never really got challenged, that never really got investigated with any investigation of her, that never got tested in any way, but the presumption was that she was a defendant in this case. And so that's unfortunate because she couldn't talk for a while. She's being held for a while. She never got a chance really to tell her story. Ordinarily the system shouldn't work that way, but both Attorney Bradel and I have been on both sides of the system. We know how it works, and sometimes when it doesn't work well and it works slowly, that's unfortunately what happened in this case. And we fought every way with Kelsey to make sure that justice was done. It took longer than it should have, we think. It was more painful than it should have been, but look, we got the right result today, and we are happy with that.
Kelsey, what's the next thing you want to do now that you're not guilty?
Guys, hold on. Let's give these guys over here a
Starting
chance.
today,
Go ahead.
all of your bail restrictions are lifted, and you said you can breathe again, but there's a lot of changes that are going to take place today. You have a lot more freedom than you had. How do you plan to start that journey of freedom?
I want to go for a walk with my dog. I can't wait to take him for a run. I haven't been able to do that. But that's our thing, is going for a run. So,
I'm sure he would love
And don't forget, she couldn't do that.
Right.
She had to sit in her house. That was her best case scenario, that she was a prisoner in her own home. And then her worst case scenario at the outset of this case, and like Martha said, this was such a bumpy road, a long, bumpy road that never should have happened. And, you know, she had to spend time in prison. As a former police officer and corrections officer, she gets sent to jail. Someone with no criminal record, someone who shows up to court, has a wonderful history in this county, and sent to jail. To me, it's unprecedented. It terrorized her, and it's a horrendous, awful thing that happened. This case started out as a circus, and we are so grateful to end up in Lawrence in front of Judge Karp, who, like I said, is an absolute gentleman, a consummate jurist, and he treated everyone in that room with respect, with humanity, with kindness, and we were very appreciative for it.
You have a message to your former colleague?
no.
What do you make of the judge saying he credited both Kelsey's testimony and the testimony of Officer Newton? He called it confusing.
Well, Charlie, you know, he's the fact finder. He's got to make the sausage in the back room. You know, he's got to think about everything, and you know, it's a tough job for any fact finder in any case, really. But I mean, you know, Kelsey has said to you guys every time we're out here, I can't wait to get to the truth. I can't wait for the truth to come out. And finally, she got her chance, and she told the truth, and she put herself out there. The one person in the whole room that didn't have to testify. She's the one that got up there, put herself out there, and told the truth. And the judge, I think, treated her wonderfully and was very humane and kind, and listened attentively to not only her but to everybody in the case. And we're grateful for that.
And I'll just add two things to that. First of all, people can believe they're telling the truth when they're mistaken, so they can appear to be credible but be wrong. And when a defendant like this is credible, I think, as Tim said in his opening and his closing, that creates reasonable doubt. And so that's the standard. The Commonwealth always has the burden beyond a reasonable doubt. We did know the one thing we weren't going to get was a hung jury here. So,
Josie, do you have a question? You okay?
Spot jury riddle, but it's okay. How are you feeling, Kelsey?
I feel good. I feel relieved. I was eager to do this, and I said from day one, the truth will come out, and it did.
Anybody
For me,
else?
if this is doubling up, but you testified that 2 weeks is an eternity for any mom, and the judge seemed, and even the prosecutor seemed to connect with that. What's 9 months been like?
There's not a word. There's not a word. It's the most devastating thing that you can do to a new mom, and hopefully changes will be made where a new mom or anyone will never have to go through something like this.
We've talked about that, and we're going to talk about that with legislators. What kind of a system is it that somebody can walk into court, fill out a piece of paper, and in 15 minutes, take someone's baby away, take a mom of a newborn's baby away? It's just an incredible thing, and it shouldn't happen. And we're going to work on some reforms of that statute.
Tim, how much impact do you think it had that the complainant had connections, friends within the law enforcement community? So maybe you can't be just anybody coming and filling out a form.
To be determined, Michael. To be determined. We have some other investigations to work on, and we're going to leave no stone unturned, and we're going to find out exactly how and why this happened, who's responsible, and we're not stopping here. The things that happened to Kelsey, we have, with respect to her home being broken into, we've reported that to the FBI, and I've had it with Essex County, and there are other avenues to pursue, and we're pursuing them, and we're in touch with the FBI on all sorts of federal crimes that were committed, and we're in the process of dealing with it there. That's one example of other avenues that we're taking here. We're not sitting here at Essex County's beck and call. We know where to go, and we know who to talk to, and we are doing that. Anybody else?
oh, great.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.